Before each landing, I move the gear lever down and wait for the 3 green lights to show me that the gear is down and locked. Well, there was this one time when this is not what happened. Here's what happened instead. So I was coming back from Florida, a pretty long trip, a little over a week, and on my very final landing of that trip back in Cedar Rapids, I was descending through the clouds. I was finally lined up with the runway, had the runway in sight, moved the gear lever down, heard the noise of the motor and the wind noise changing with the gear, but I noticed that the 3 green lights did not come on that normally show me after a few seconds the gear is down and locked. Instead, the gear and transition lights stayed on. So that was a problem. The very first thing I did is I pulled the breaker for the landing gear motor. I couldn't hear really if it was still trying to work or not, but I figured the immediate thing to do was to disable the gear motor and prevent it from doing any possible damage that it may or may not have been doing at the time. I didn't know, but that seemed like a good precaution. The next thing I did is I told air traffic control that I did not have a good gear indication and asked for a flyby so that the tower could watch and tell me what they saw.
South Raider. Hey, this is ground. We've got an alert 1 that Bonanza doesn't have full gear down.
Okay.
We're not. It's going to be an alert 2. It is definitely not down. He came down for a low approach. Do you want us to send him back out to you, or what do you want to do?
What does he want to do? Do you just want time to troubleshoot?
We're runway heading at 3,000 with him for right now.
Okay, yep, send him back to me.
CP.
So the tower reported that they saw my gear somewhat extended but not fully. In particular, they said that the inner gear doors were still down. That's a clear indication that the process of lowering and locking the gear is not yet complete. Something obviously was not right, and it was not safe to land in this configuration. I then told the tower that I wanted to climb back up. It was a fairly bumpy day down low, but smooth air above the clouds, so I figured I had no urgent need to get the plane back on the ground, and I figured the best thing to do was climb above the clouds where the air is calm, turn on the autopilot, get the book out, and work through the emergency checklist for landing gear extension without bumps, without haste. I had time and I just needed to find a nice quiet place to run through it. The way the emergency gear extension works differs from airplane to airplane. In the Bonanza, the gear is normally moved by an electric motor, and the backup for this motor is a hand crank behind the pilot's seat. Normally, that hand crank is stowed and hidden behind a cover. And today was the day to remove that cover, unfold the handle and use it. I had practiced this once during my transition training when I first started flying the Bonanza, but never needed to use it since then.
November 9 Echo Golf, no problem. Contact Quad City approach 125.905.
Okay, as far as it goes, 3 greens.
9 Echo Golf.
Whew. Approach Bonanza 70 Tango Bravo. I have 3 greens after the manual gear extension. That completes my emergency checklist. I'd like to return to Cedar Rapids for full stop landing. Or maybe 1 low pass for an inspection and then full stop landing.
Bonanza 70 Tango Bravo Cedar Rapids approach. Turn right heading 130, vector for the ILS.
Heading 130, vector for the ILS, Bonanza 0 Tango Bravo.
And Bonanza 0 Tango Bravo affirmative, copy the 3 green.
Thank you.
Sierra 0 Charlie Delta contact tower.
Go on the tower, 0 Charlie Delta.
Bonanza 0 Tango Bravo. I probably don't need the ILS on this one. If it works for you traffic-wise, I could just descend back to 3,000 and do a visual approach.
Bonanza 0 Tango Bravo, roger. Descend pilot's discretion, maintain 3,000, fly heading 150, vector visual approach runway 27.
Heading 150, leaving 4,000, descending 3,000, Bonanza 70 Tango Bravo.
Bonanza 0 Tango Bravo, turn left heading 110.
110, Bonanza 0 Tango Bravo.
Sierra Snyder Charlie Foxtrot, contact tower 118.7, good day.
Over tower, 9 Fox, stay 0 Tango.
Bonanza 0 Tango Bravo. Traffic, you're following 12 o'clock and 6 miles. Cirrus at 2000, descending.
Bonanza 70 Tango Bravo has a Cirrus in sight.
Bonanza 0 Tango Bravo, follow the Cirrus, cleared visual approach, runway 27.
Follow the Cirrus, cleared visual approach 27, and just to be sure, my intentions are 1, low approach, hoping the tower can take another look at my gear, and then if that looks good, full stop landing afterwards.
Bonanza 0 Tango Bravo, roger. Contact tower now and we'll pass that information along.
Contact the tower, Bonanza 0 Tango Bravo, have a good day. Cirrus Tower, Bonanza 7 0 Tango Bravo, again, visual approach 27 behind the Cirrus.
Bonanza 70 Tango Bravo, Cedar Rapids Tower, runway 27, clear for the option, wind 200 at 15.
Clear for the option 27, Bonanza 0 Tango Bravo. Landing checklist. Here, well, might be down permanently. Landing light. Mixed chen comes.
There's 9 Charlie Foxtrot, turn right when able, contact ground 121.6 and off.
Right on Alpha 3 and over the ground, 9 Charlie Fox, thanks for everything.
Boss 2, be advised the next inbound aircraft is the aircraft in distress. He's going to be doing a low approach and coming back around to land it.
Boss 2 copies. And tower boss 2, if you can let the other units know that too.
Boss 2, roger. Bonanza 0 Tango Bravo, maintain VF audible at 2000. Left right traffic at discretion and your gear appears to be down.
Alright, 2000, I'll make right traffic and would like to return for full stop landing then. And thank you.
Bonanza 0 Tango Bravo, roger, runway 27, clear to land, wind 180 at 14.
Clear to land 27, Bonanza 7 0 Tango Bravo. Clear approach, clear on the runway. Gray greens. Approach flaps. Of course, it had to be a gusty day, right?
Wind 200 at 18.
Gray greens.
Boss 2, proceed on runway 27.
Proceed on 27, boss 2 copies.
Alright, that felt normal. Looks like it's really down and locked.
Bonanza 0 Tango Bravo, say parking.
Bonanza 0 Tango Bravo would like to go to the northwest east, please.
Bonanza 0 Tango Bravo, turn right on Alpha 3, contact ground 121.6 and off.
Right on Alpha 3, ground went off, and thank you very much for your help, for the public safety guys too.
No problem.
Ground boss 2, I'll just follow him if that's okay with you.
Boss 2, roger, turn right on Alpha 3.
Sierra's ground, Bonanza 7, 0 Tango Bravo is at Alpha and Alpha 3, request taxi to the northwest T's.
Bonanza 70 Tango Bravo, Cedar Rapids ground, taxi straight ahead on Alpha 3.
Straight ahead on Alpha 3, Bonanza 70 Tango Bravo.
Cedar Rapids ground, Patrol 4.
Patrol 4, Cedar Rapids ground.
Just curious where this aircraft is parking.
Looks like he's going to the northwest T's.
Yeah, affirmative, 0 Tango Bravo. My hangar is 403. I'd like to park there and then see what to do.
Patrol 4, did you copy that?
Yep, hangar 403, thank you.
And just to verify, runway 27 is good to use, correct?
Stand by.
Okay, cowl flaps, lights, and trim. After landing complete.
Bonanza 55 Quebec will be just a second. As soon as we get the green light for runway 27, I'll get you going.
Thanks.
Cedar Rapids ground, Patrol 4, verified with the emergency unit. 27 is clear and open.
Patrol 4, roger, thank you. Bonanza 6755 Quebec, runway 27, taxi via Alpha, cross runway 31 at Alpha.
And 55 Quebec, left turn on Alpha, cross 31, 55 Quebec.
Thanks for your patience.
No sweat, hope there was no problem.
You may think that sending out the fire truck, chasing it down the runway after me, and even having it follow me to the hangar was overkill. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but I was grateful at the moment that the authorities in Cedar Rapids were there to help if needed. You'll rather be a little too careful than not be there in case something happens. So the airplane is safely back in the hangar. Obviously, something needs to be looked at and likely repaired. It could be the landing gear motor. It could be the electrical connection to the landing gear motor. Here's the problem I'm facing right now. My airplane is in the hangar in Cedar Rapids. That's where it's based. My shop and my mechanic are in Vinton, Iowa. That's about 30 miles northwest of here. And I need to fly the airplane to Vinton, to the shop, so the mechanic can start the repair. The good news is my very next flight after the Florida trip would have been to Vinton anyway. The airplane's due for annual this month. The bad news is it legal to fly there? Can I legally do that? And to look at that, to answer that question, we need to look at the Pilot Operating Handbook and the Approved Airplane Flight Manual, which has, in the limitation section, a list of equipment required for flight in different conditions, VFR day and night and IFR day and night. And if we look at the description of the landing gear motor, it says it's required for flight, no matter whether it's day or night or IFR or VFR. So I don't currently have an airworthy airplane. How do I get it to Vinton? So what I need to do is call the FAA, call the Flight Standard District Office of FISTO, the one in Des Moines, Ankeny, and ask for a special flight permit, which is a special airworthiness certificate. Looks like this here. And here's how that conversation went.
Federal Aviation, this is Gail. May I help you?
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Martin. I have some questions about obtaining a ferry permit for a Bonanza. Is there somebody that could help me with that?
Okay, yeah, I think we can find someone. Can you hold on just a minute, Martin?
Sure.
Thank you.
Martin, Jeremiah able to Moines Fisdo. How you doing?
Good. How are you doing, Jeremiah?
All right. So what are the circumstances?
So circumstances are, I'm the owner of a Bonanza A36 Bonanza that I keep in Cedar Rapids. On Saturday, on returning to Cedar Rapids, I had issues extending the landing gear the normal way. I had to use the hand crank to move it down. That resulted in a normal landing. But I suspect now that the landing gear motor is either broken or it doesn't get power. And I would like to fly the airplane to Vinton, where my shop is that I have been using since I bought the airplane, to inspect and repair it. The mechanic from Vinton has already been at my hangar. We met last night after work. He looked at it and confirmed that there's no damage to the landing gear, nothing that's visible. He confirmed it was locked. But to really repair it and put it on the jacks and swing it needs to be at the shop. So that's what I hope I can get a ferry permit for.
Okay. So what's the end number?
It's November 70 Tango Bravo.
70 Tango Bravo. Okay, you're on ferry from Cedar Rapids to Vinton?
Correct.
Are you going to have any stops in between? Is it a direct flight?
No, it's a direct flight.
Okay, direct flight. All right. And you said your mechanics already looked at it and locked out the gear?
Yeah.
Or ensured that it's not damaged?
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, Martin. I don't anticipate any issues. When were you wanting to do this?
Well, based on what the mechanic and I talked about last night, it could be as early as the end of the week. However, that looks like a few very windy days from the forecast. So, is it possible to give maybe a week-long range where I could?
Yeah,
make
we normally issue them for 10 days.
Yeah.
Or upon arrival. So, did you want me to issue it effective today or effective sort of Friday?
How about effective Thursday, and then the 10-day period is plenty of time.
Okay, so I'll do it from Thursday forward.
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right, so I don't anticipate any issues. It sounds pretty straightforward. I'll get in the books here and ensure that everything's current. And normally what we do is I'll send you a digital copy via email, and then you'll just have to print that off and ensure that you have it when you take the flight.
Okay.
And I'll have my contact information on there as well. So if you've got any questions, concerns, or adjustments, just let us know.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds
Well,
easy.
assuming everything goes as you're the owner, and obviously you're intimately aware of the circumstances, so that makes it a lot easier. So, like I said, I don't anticipate any issues, assuming that the registration's current and there's nothing on the books. In which case, I should be able to get it over to you later this afternoon. Okay.
Perfect. Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jeremiah. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was easy. So that was pretty easy. I have the special flight permit in my hand. It gave me a 10-day window to make this flight to Vinton, so we could look at availability for myself and the mechanic as well as the weather. And there are some conditions and limitations noted here. So first one is number of occupants aboard is limited to essential crew necessary for the safety of the flight. That's easy. That's just me. No passengers on this flight. Second, flight crew must be appropriately qualified and rated for intended flight. Yep. 3, this certificate is not valid unless the aircraft is inspected by a certified A&P mechanic or an appropriately rated repair station, and a notation made in the aircraft records that the aircraft is safe for the intended flight. I guess that makes sense, right? Right now I only know that something didn't quite work when I tried to extend the gear. It could be the motor, it could be electrical, it could be temporary, it could be permanent. Or it could be something worse, and maybe I was just lucky that the gear worked on that one landing and it might not work so well on the next one. So my mechanic kindly came out to my hangar, looked at the plane, and confirmed that there was no visible damage, confirmed that it was in the down and locked position, and made a logbook entry for me showing all that, documenting all that, and documenting that the circuit breaker for landing gear motor has been disabled and marked inop, that until further notice the aircraft is to be flown at an airspeed not to exceed the gear down speed, that a ferry permit has been applied for, and maybe most importantly that the aircraft is determined to be airworthy for a short flight to Vinton so that we can inspect and repair it there. So that takes care of the special flight permit for this ferry flight. One other thing I had to do is call my insurance broker, because my insurance requires that the airplane be airworthy. And if it's not, the coverage might be limited, or there might not be coverage should something happen on this flight, whether it's related to the gear or something completely different. That turned out to be an easy formality. All the insurance company wanted to know is that a special flight permit has been issued, and they want to get advance notification that such a ferry flight is made. It's a mere formality, but one that must be taken care of. Otherwise, if something were to go wrong on this short flight to Vinton, it might be pretty expensive without any insurance coverage. So I got the special flight permit, got the log entry made, the insurance has been notified, and today, beautiful sunny Sunday, looks like a nice day to fly to Vinton, where my mechanic will be ready to take a look.
Okay, we're in cruise now, wide open throttle, lean of peak. DHTs look good. Our speed is 125 knots. That's well below the gear speed of 153. Gear is down, still 3 greens. Bonanza 70 Tango Bravo has Vinton in sight, request frequency change.
Bonanza 0 Tango Bravo, radar service terminated, change to advisory frequencies approved, squawk VFR, have a good day.
Squawk VFR going to advisory, thanks for the help, have a good day to you, Bonanza 70 Tango Bravo. Okay, going to 18 inches.
5 Whiskey, final 1301.
Gas, undercarriage, mixture, prop, all good. Gear is down 3 greens. Vinton traffic, Bonanza 0 Tango Bravo is on a left downwind for runway 16. Full stop landing, Vinton. Okay, we'll have wind from the right. Vinton traffic, Bonanza 0 Tango Bravo turning final, runway 16, full stop, Vinton.
Iowa City traffic, Cessna 32 Lima uniform, mile and a half north, entering crosswind runway 25, Iowa City.
Okay, full flaps, gas, undercarriage, mixture, prop. 3 greens. Vinton traffic, Bonanza 0 Tango Bravo, clear of the runway, Vinton. Okay, after landing, right spec beacon, flaps are up, cowl flaps open, trim 3 up.
In the shop hangar, my mechanic Mike put the Bonanza up on jacks to swing the gear to reproduce the problem and see what's wrong. At least that was the plan. The gear actually worked flawlessly, going up and down over 10 cycles without any hiccups and with no indication of any problem. So what to do? Well, based on the age of the gear motor, in my mind it seemed like a good idea to send it in for overhaul. I asked around a little bit, and I selected a company in the Atlanta, Georgia area to do the overhaul. I spoke with them after they had a chance to take a look at my motor, and based on that conversation, sending the motor in for overhaul was the right thing to do.
Good afternoon, this is Kevin.
Good afternoon, Kevin. Martin Paula here. How are you?
Hey, Martin, doing great, man. Sorry about that. I guess the phones are ringing like crazy today, which is a good problem, but I'm trying to keep up with the pace.
Yeah, it can be overwhelming. I know the feeling.
Martin, did you get my email?
No, I got your voicemail. I did not get an email from you.
Okay. I just fired it. Well, let me make sure I did fire it off. Yeah, I fired it off here about 5 minutes ago, but basically it was the teardown inspection and the quote for the motor. So I had a long conversation with Mike. The issues were definitely pointing towards the motor while you had failure. So when we got the motor in, we put it on the load tester, and it did good for 2 to 3, 4 cycles. Once it really started to heat up, it began to fail. The RPM slowed way down, the amperage went way up.
Okay.
So upon disassembly and inspection, what we found, the major problem with it is that last overhaul, the guys repaired the field wires, the positive wire, the counterclockwise and clockwise wire going into the field assembly. They basically put a splice in there where the wires were weak. Now that's not an approved repair, reason being those wires heat up so hot coming out of that field winding that the terminal crimps they put on there just can't keep up with the electricity. They short out. So that's what I'm going to point the failure to. Now, in addition to that, the armature also had insulation breakdown, which is a short, basically a fancy word for a short in it. So the high potential test shows the arcing of the milliamp bleed, and it shorts under high voltage. Now, you don't see that problem until it's under a load. If you're running it unloaded, no problem, which is probably why it didn't do it on the ground during the gear swing. Once you got up and you had the air load on the system, that puts a lot more weight on the gear. The little motor has to work a lot harder. With both of those problems. So the armature rewind, that's a very common issue we see. Coupled with the windings, though, it's going to knock it out of the park to repair it. It's going to basically make it beyond economical repair.
Okay.
Be well over the replacement. Now, the numbers, not the best in the world, but we do overhaul outright sales replacements basically at $1,750. That is basically, you'll get an overhauled motor with a rewound armature in it by us, done by us here. 8130 come with a 1-year warranty, and then you get your old motor back because it's basically of not much value at all at this point. Now, just to give you an idea, the standard one that comes through overhaul wise is about $1,500, so it's really not that far out of the par. Typically, what we see is, about $1,400 to $1,500 on the standard. That's the one that comes in, needs an armature rewind. So you can see that's why it makes it beyond economical repair. To do the field assemblies, you're looking at another $800-900. So way well into the $2,500 range. So in my opinion, not worth it at all. I'm a little disgruntled to see the repair done that way on those field assemblies. Honestly, we see it a lot, but it's one of those rookie mistakes, if you will, that guys just should not put a crimp in that area, which led to it only lasting 900 hours. These motors, if they're taken care of, the brushes changes should last 2,000 hours before you have to pull it out and change things over. Now, all condition based wise, if you're pulling your brushes out like you should every 500 hours, checking them out, then that's good healthy habits. But at the end of the day, every 1,500 to 2,000 hours, you're going to want to pull it out and have it overhauled. That keeps the armature in fresh shape, gets it true and turned. But that's the case where we're at right now, so I just wanted to give you guys a shout with that. I've got pictures as well I was going to send over, but Mike said please don't send pictures to him because it's going to bog his computer down and send him into a crash. So I can throw those pictures on an email and just shoot them directly to you so you can see what I'm talking about and what it is. And I don't know if you guys smelled the burnt electrical smoke smell But when we pulled that thing apart, man, we pulled it apart Friday. The shop still smells like burnt electrical in here. So it was definitely, the good news is we can point the problem directly to the motor. So you get another one in there, it'll fix that issue, and the gear swing will just...
You know what, Kevin, in a way that's reassuring, because I was wondering if we'd be hunting down gremlins without knowing whether we actually fixed anything.
Right.
After.
Right.
Okay. So outright overhauled, I guess, is the way to go then, right? That's really...
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Yeah.
They're not even available new anymore. We hang out a lot in this market. We do a lot of the actuator assemblies for all the guys on Beach Talk and all, so I'm always shopping prices to see what's going on out there, and for the most part, most people put about a $2,500 core, which puts an outright price on an overhauled one around $3,000. So we don't view it that way. We just need enough to be able to put another one back on the shelf and help someone else out. So that's kind of how we view that. But
sure.
That's going to be the best bet. And you can't, I know Mike asked, but you can't buy them new anymore. They show they have a price of them, of course, of about $5,000, but they don't have availability. So really, overhauled is about the only option these days.
So you have one ready to ship?
Yeah, we keep a couple of them on the shelf. I'll verify real quick. I'm actually hanging out in the stock room. Let's see here. Yeah, we've got 2 ready to go. And then basically it's ready for install once he gets it. I will warn Mike, he'll probably have to play with the limit switches to get the up and down rigging correctly. Reason being, some motors stop quicker than others.
Yep.
A fresh overhaul is going to stop faster than what the old one was. So you might have to move that up and down. And then some other common issues we always say, I don't know, does Mike do a lot of Baron Bonanza work?
I don't know how much he does anymore, but he learned in a Beechcraft service center, so he is well familiar with the beach landing gear.
Perfect. I was going to say, on the Barons in particular, check the ground out, double check the ground stud, even think about making a jumper wire with another ground on it is a common practice, as well as making sure all the terminals are tight on the dynamic brake relay, and everything should be good to go. But we can definitely do that, and like we said, we'll send the old motor back to you so you can see those wires and stuff.
Yeah.
And then we'll go from there.
So that's what we did. Instead of repairing my old gear motor, I bought one overhaul outright. That means it was originally somebody else's motor, which was then overhauled and tested. They did send my old motor back as well in a Ziploc bag, and yes, it still smelled burned when I received it. The rest of the story is pretty simple. After Mike installed the new landing gear motor and finished the rest of the annual, my good friend and fellow Bonanza pilot Matt gave me a ride back to Vinton in his V-tail Bonanza. From there, I picked up 70 Tango Bravo and flew her home to Cedar Rapids. Needless to say, when I moved the gear lever down for landing at my home airport, I got the familiar 3 green lights again. Success.